You know what psychology research actually says about people with an extremely high IQ? You almost never know you have it because the signs don't look like intelligence. They look like problems. The overthinking, the self-doubt, the way you feel things too deeply, the way you get bored in conversations that everyone else seems totally fine with, the way you just know things without being able to explain how you know them. And for most of your life, you probably just assumed those were personal flaws, something you needed to fix. But here's the thing, they're not. Every single one of them is a documented psychological pattern found consistently in people with an extremely high IQ. Here are 10 of them. The first one is spending a lot of time alone and actually needing it. Now, most people find silence uncomfortable, right? They reach for their phone, they turn on background noise, they look for something, anything, to fill the quiet. But when you have a high IQ, silence isn't empty. Your brain is always working, always connecting, always quietly building something, even when you look like you're doing absolutely nothing at all. Research has found that your brain actually shows significantly more activity in the prefrontal cortex. That's the part responsible for deep thinking, planning, and complex reflection, even during rest. So you're not being antisocial when you need to be alone. You're not being lazy when you stare out the window. You're processing. And honestly, your brain genuinely needs that time. The second is asking questions that make other people uncomfortable. And not because you're trying to be difficult, it's just that your brain naturally searches for the layer beneath the layer. Why does this work this way? Who actually decided this was normal? What's really happening? Underneath what everyone's saying, the question forms before you even decide to ask it, and sometimes the room just goes quiet because nobody else was thinking that deeply. That's not you being too much. That's your brain doing exactly what it was built to do. The third is talking to yourself. I know, that one surprises people, but psychologists actually have a name for it. They call it self-directed speech, and research shows it's directly connected to higher cognitive function. When you work through a problem out loud, or replay a conversation in your head, or just kind of narrate your own thinking, your brain is strengthening the exact neural pathways involved in focus, working memory, and complex problem solving. It's not strange. It's not a sign that something's wrong. It's actually a sign that your brain is doing serious work and using every tool available to do it well. The fourth is being completely comfortable, saying, you don't know. And this one's counterintuitive, right? Because in psychology, there's this well-documented pattern called the Dunning-Kruger effect. People who know very little about something tend to feel extremely confident about it. But the more you truly understand something, the more you realize how much complexity actually exists. You've thought about things long enough to understand how genuinely difficult they are. So when you say you don't know, that's not uncertainty. That's honesty about how much the question actually deserves. The fifth is overthinking things that other people just let go. Your analytical brain doesn't have an off switch. The same mental process that helps you solve complex problems also means you replay conversations, second-guess decisions, and analyze situations long after everyone else has completely moved on. From the outside, that looks like anxiety. But from the inside, what's actually happening is your brain running multiple models at once, testing different outcomes, checking for what everyone else might have missed. You're not overthinking. You're thinking at a depth most people never reach. The sixth is the sense of humor that not everyone gets. And here's why that actually matters. Real humor, like genuinely funny humor, requires your brain to hold two completely unrelated ideas at the same time, find the unexpected connection between them, and land it at exactly the right moment. That's a cognitively demanding task. Research published across multiple intelligence journals has found a consistent and measurable link between IQ and the ability to process and create complex humor. So if your sense of humor tends to be a little darker, a little more layered, a little more unexpected than most people's, that's not a flaw in your personality. That's your brain operating at a level most people simply can't follow. The seventh is changing your mind easily and feeling completely fine about it. For most people, changing their mind feels like losing, right? It feels like admitting they were wrong, which somehow feels like a threat to who they are. But for you, a belief isn't an identity. It's a working model. And when better information comes in, your model updates, not reluctantly, not after a fight, just cleanly and naturally. Psychologists consistently identify this, your ability to hold a belief loosely and revise it without ego, as one of the most reliable markers of advanced intelligence. If you've ever changed your mind about something significant and felt relieved rather than ashamed, that tells you something real about how your brain works. The eighth is being most mentally alive at night. Your brain doesn't slow down at night. It actually does the opposite. The noise is gone. The demands are gone. And suddenly, your brain has space to make the connections that the day never really allowed. Research suggests that your kind of mind, one with higher cognitive flexibility, is significantly more likely to do its clearest thinking when the world has gone still. Night isn't when you lose focus, it's when you finally find it. The ninth is observing far more than you speak. In most rooms, you're probably not the loudest voice, but you're the one who already figured out exactly what's happening and why. You gather before you respond. You watch the dynamics. You read what's happening underneath what people are actually saying. And when you do speak, it lands differently because you already knew exactly what needed to be said. You are just waiting for the right moment. And the 10th is a question that never fully goes away. Why do people do what they do? Not as a judgment, not out of frustration, just this quiet, persistent curiosity that kind of lives inside you about what drives people, what shapes them, why they believe what they believe, why they respond the way they respond. It's not something you choose to think about. It's just always running. And that constant need to understand, that inability to stop at the easy answer, that's not a quirk. That's what your extremely active and extremely intelligent mind looks like from the inside. Your brain that can't stop thinking isn't broken. You don't need to be fixed for needing silence. You're not weak for changing your mind. You're not difficult for questioning everything. You're the one who finds what everyone else walked past. You're the one who connects what nobody else connected. You're the one who understands rooms that most people never even bother to read. You weren't built to fit quietly into a world that wasn't designed for how you think. You were built to understand it. And maybe, for the first time, now you know why.